On the last day of the Canadian Conference Catholic Bishops Plenary Assembly, we began as usual with a moment of prayer, thanking God for His assistance during our plenary and praying for our local churches. During the week, the Canadian bishops had to go through a process of elections because the two-year mandate of bishops who are members of the Permanent Council and the Executive Committee was expired. So here are the results of the elections of the main position. We do have a new president in the person of Bishop William McGrattan from the Diocese of Calgary, and also as a vice president, myself. And we do have two co-treasurers with Bishop Gerard Burgi from the Diocese of St. Catherine and Bishop Christian Rodambourg from the Diocese of Saint-Hyacinthe. So on this last day of the plenary, we had a moment of reflection animated by Bishop Marc Pelchat and Bishop John Boissonneau. They were inviting us to reflect how can we promote more religious vocation, especially for priesthood, and also how can we accompany more seminarians and newly ordained. So we had a moment of discussion on that topic. We also received and approved some reports of commissions and standing committee. For example, we did receive the report of the Episcopal Commission for Doctrine. It's interesting to know that that commission published during the last months a template for pastors on the evangelization of young people in Canada. Another example is the report from the Commission for Justice and Peace. During the month of June, that commission published Living as Catholics in the Public Square, Freedom of Religion and Conscience in Canada. So that's very helpful for the proclamation of the gospel in the world today. Finally, we also did receive the annual report of the Standing Committee for Family and Life. It's nice to know that that group is working very hard. They published a toolkit for the National Week for the Family. They also published some resources for the International Day for the Grandparents and Older People, celebrated on July the 23rd. And finally, they also published a pastoral letter from the CCCB for young people as a follow-up to the Synod on Youth. There are so many good things happening in the Church of Canada, and the bishops, we have the time to share with each other, to talk with each other. And for example, in the Diocese of Saint-Anne-de-la-Pocatière, which is my diocese, I'm very proud, thinking of some initiative with the youth. We have the joy to have a young lay leader who is working a lot with youth, teenager, and also young adults. And so we're moving forward to prepare a group, for the next World Youth Day, and that's great.
Hello, Bishop Gary Franken from St. Paul in Alberta. I love that it's rural. I come from Vancouver, great place, but traffic is just crazy. Now I can drive anywhere, no trouble at all. But actually what I love most is the people, the history. There's just a lot of good living of the faith there.
I'm the Bishop of Whitehorse. We have a composition of people that come from all over different parts of Canada and different parts of the world. And certainly we have our brothers and sisters, the First Nations. There are 25% of the whole Yukon. The whole Yukon is more or less 45,000 people. But the diocese in itself is about 80,000 because I also have the northern part of BC. People are welcoming, open to welcome other people. For example, we have been engaged in refugees coming from different parts of the world, bringing them to the Yukon and helping them and to establish and to live a safe life in the Yukon. We have also been engaged with the Ukrainian crisis. And so the people are very welcoming, very lovable in terms of being open to share with others. I would say that the Yukon at the end of the day, we can say that has an open heart.
I'm the Bishop of the Diocese of Antigonish. That's in northeastern Nova Scotia. And we have about 99 churches and missions, and we're very rich in Celtic history. We're the home of St. Francis Xavier University in Antigonish, well known throughout the country. We have a rich tradition there, beautiful, picturesque scenery abounds.
Well, my name is Bishop Mark Hageman. I'm the Bishop of the Diocese of Saskatoon in Saskatchewan. It is actually a rural diocese, but it has a very large city, Saskatoon, and a few other what I would call rural cities. And what I love about my diocese, there are so many things to love about it, but it has a lot of faith-filled and active laity and clergy. I am very well supported by a dynamic and dedicated group of clergy from our diocese who come from other countries, mainly Africa and also India. And Saskatoon has such a history of really faithful Catholic laity. There's a lot of lay movements for young adults, youth, and for adults, and they continue to grow and they continue to respond to the Holy Spirit's call to evangelize and be people of service in the life of Saskatchewan. So they really bring light and hope, and I'm a blessed bishop.
I'm the Bishop of the Eparchy of Toronto in Eastern Canada for Ukrainian Catholics. Some may or may not understand that. We are an eparchy is basically the same word diocese in Roman Catholic terms. There are 5 in Canada, one for BC, one Alberta, one Saskatchewan. Our Metropolitan Archbishop covers all of Manitoba, and then I cover everything east of Manitoba all the way out through Newfoundland. So my jurisdiction is certainly a little bit larger than the others. I feel for the other eastern bishops, some cover all of Canada, some cover all of Canada and the United States. And so eastern churches were smaller in population, but sometimes our jurisdictions are larger or smaller accordingly. It's a challenge for us to deal with many things and be current. Probably more profoundly right now is we've got many migrants coming from Ukraine. And so I've had to establish a new parish, bring in a new priest, get a new place for him and his family, have him, strategically located so that he can drive out to different places. We placed it in Moncton, and so he services Prince Edward Island, Fredericton, St. John, New Brunswick, and I fly a priest out every month to Newfoundland to cover St. John's and Corner Brook. So that's sort of the recent developments that we've had, but we're grateful for everybody's prayerful support and certainly the Salt and Light for helping us get that message out.
The Bishops of Canada concluded their plenary assembly today, and they felt really enriched, I would say, by their fraternity, moment of sharing, prayer, and also discernment. It is nice to know that next year for the 2024 Plenary Assembly, we will meet in Quebec City to participate to the special celebration event of the 350th anniversary of foundation of the Archdiocese of Quebec.